I wanted to come and talk to you about something that I actually shared over on my TikTok a few days ago. I channeled a message that came through after there was some things released about scientists actually seeing time going backwards. And the interesting thing about this is as soon as I saw this, I started getting all these downloads about time and how time works in our dimension. So I'm going to try to share more of that in this episode with you guys and explain to you the difference between three-dimensional time and six-dimensional time and beyond. So stay and hang out with me why I try to explain this, and we'll figure this out together because I'm just bringing through messages from my higher self and spirit team and hoping that they make sense. Welcome to the Soul Alignment Mentor Podcast. I'm your host, Angie, and I'm inviting you to explore the depths of self-sabotage, limiting mindsets, and the beliefs that hinder our progress in life. Through intuitive messages I receive from my spirit team, I share profound insights to help you live authentically and break free from these limitations. Join me now as we uncover all the keys to living your best life. Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Angie, and I'm your Soul Alignment Mentor, bringing you intuitive messages from my spirit team to help you align with your most authentic and highest self. So, as I said in the introduction, I want to dive into 3D time. And I know I've made a video about this before, talking about how 3D time seems to be speeding up the more that we are ascending. And the reason that time seems to be speeding up, according to what I have been able to come to a comprehension of and understanding of, is because our frequency is becoming less and less dense as we ascend in our energy, as we enhance and upgrade, basically. And it's hard to explain this because we think in logical terms. We don't think in everything happening at once. We think of time as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We think of as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We think of December, January, February, March, April. We think in linear time. And depending on how your brain works, you either see that moving forward like this, or you see it moving up. And so what I want to try to explain today is none of that. It's all happening at once. And that is why this is so hard to explain in our comprehension as humans. So when I saw the news that they had found time basically going backwards, I will see if I can get a clip and post that here so you know exactly what I'm talking about if you did not see it. And then maybe I'll post something below for you to look at as well. But basically they discovered time. I think it was one part of a molecule moving ahead of another, which reversed time in this ability to see something. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to go into that. I'm here to talk about the spiritual aspect of it. So when I heard that, all these things started popping in my head about ourselves and time and how we are universal, eternal beings, and we have multiple selves that are happening at the same time. And so in our timeline, in our linear timeline, or whatever way you see this, we think of past lives and future lives, or we think of our little self and our older self, or we think of what we were before and what will be after, kind of things like that. But really, everything's happening simultaneously. And as we're in this dense 3D experience, we have the ability to move slower through time because time is in the 3D to create. And the reason that we came here to the 3D world is to have the experience of being able to create in a dense energy. When we are not in the 3D, when we are back in our true highest form, We literally think and it happens. There's not a lag there. It's like if I want to go on vacation to the beach and I live where I live now in Kansas, all I have to do is think and I'm there. And I can be at any beach, anywhere, at any time. But here, I have to, oh, I think I want to go to the beach. Do I have enough money? Do I have time to take off? Do I have a plane ticket? Do I have the items I need to take with me? Then you start planning all these things. Then you have to get on the plane. Then you have to get off the plane. So it's like everything's happening and manifesting, but it's based on our creation and our doing and the steps that we're taking to create that reality for ourselves. And this is why manifestation takes both action and belief. If I believe something, I also have to take action towards that belief. I have to allow my mind, my energy, and the way I think to move me forward in that comprehension of that thing I want to manifest. So if I believe something about myself and I'm not acting that way, then my energy is not aligned with the belief. And so I have to change my energy to align with the belief so that I can manifest that thing I desire. So how does this play in our parallel lives, in our past life, our future lives, any other lives that we might be having at the same time that we don't even know about in this timeline that we're in this 3D experience we have right now? And as I heard this about time basically moving backwards and forward at the same time, I got this intuitive hit about how our future self communicates with our current self and how our higher self sees and knows all things to help guide us on our path here as a human. So the way I can explain this to you is before we came to Earth, before I decided to be Angie, before you decided to be you, before you picked the family that you came to, before you picked all the things that you are now, you were a spirit that had a desire to come and learn something. So you made a goal, and this could have been a goal according to this period and in this lifetime that you're in. This could have been a goal that you set multiple lifetimes ago, and you've been creating and going through multiple lives here on Earth to try to accomplish that goal. So we'll just stick with self-love, the goal of self-love. So the things that happen in your life are an attempt to get you on the path of self-love. So even though things might seem hard or hindering or obstacles or things continue to come up in your reality that appear to work against you, they're all an attempt to bring you back into self-love. And our higher self, your higher self, is always working to help you find that and to learn the lessons you're here to learn. Now, as we come into the 3D world, and this is all over the universe, it's not just the 3D, we have free will. And so when we come to Earth, as we're programmed to be a human, we come into this human experience as a baby. And there's a reason we come in as a baby, because babies can be programmed. They have not yet been taught how to be a human. So a baby is taught how to be a human, is taught what to believe, how to speak, how to fit into society, how to be a human. And then that baby will then start a pattern of beliefs and understanding about itself, and that's how it's going to create and manifest its reality. Now, because of the programming that that baby has when it comes to Earth, it starts to develop patterns and beliefs that are not aligned with its true self. And so the higher self, the soul, will be working with the ego, the human self, in attempts to get things aligned back together with the ego and the spirit working and getting that human and that soul on the path of learning what it came to learn. So if it came to learn self-love, it's going to put things in its path to teach it self-love. Now, this is where it can get really interesting. We all have at any moment, every single moment, a fork in the road. This moment right now, I have a fork in the road. I can decide to shut this video off and not do it. That is a choice I have. I also have a choice to continue to make this video, to complete it, to edit it, to upload it, and share it. Now, even as I'm going through that process, I still have another fork in the road that I can choose. Do I want to continue this path, or do I want to go on this path? And so at every single moment, you have a choice to make. Now, it may not seem like you have a choice, but you do. You always have a choice. Even the very small things can get, like, you have choice and free will on how you're going to proceed and move forward. And as you make these choices, there's a part of you that is calling you towards one choice and another part of you calling you towards another choice. So we're going to call it the spirit and the ego. Or if you know the old Indian story, I believe the Cherokee story, I can't remember. I apologize if anybody does know and they are a native, maybe you can correct me. But they talk about the white and black wolf and how, we think, oh, well, feed the good wolf. We want the good wolf to win. So we're always going to be feeding the good wolf. However, if we don't also feed the bad wolf, then we become too much of one thing and not balanced out in the other. So what we need to do is feed them equally, but also allow the good one, the white one, that to have more nourishment so it can help the other one feel safe and balanced. So at any point, we're working with both our ego and our spirit, and we have abilities to make choices. So that being said, who's helping us make the choices? Our higher self is always attempting to speak to us. We also have a future self that is trying to speak to us. So we have two options in the future. So if we have a fork in the road and we have two different ways to go, we have one version of us that is if we don't make this choice, and we have another version of us if we do make this choice. And so we always have the ability to choose, which do I want to be? Who do I want to be moving forward? And I remember this moment before I quit my job to do full-time spiritual healing work. I remember asking Spirit, is this the right time for me to do this? Because it was like everything kept coming up. I actually lost my job twice in a year and had to reapply for it to keep it. And then it happened again. And I was frustrated. And I was like, why does this keep happening? And I heard Spirit say, well, you have an option. You can continue this path and keep applying for this job that you think you want. Or this is the way you want to go eventually. You're just scared to take that leap. And so this is a fork in the road where what decision you make now is going to base the way your life's going to move forward. Now, here's the thing. There's no wrong choice. I could have stayed on that path and I was still doing healing work. I was just in a different place. I was working in the corporate world. And now I'm doing spiritual healing. So I have more control over what I share and how I share it. And I don't have to be monitored by a mental health, facility telling me, oh, well, you can't share that people have a higher self, or you can't share that you love one of your clients, or you can't, all these sweet, kind things that you would like to do with your clients. Like, yes, I love my clients. I care about them. I consider many of them my friends. And so there's like all these obstacles that I would have had in this path that I didn't want, that I don't have on this path. And so as I took that choice, I knew Spirit was saying to me, you're not going to make a wrong choice. It's totally up to you. You just have to decide, what version of yourself do you want to be? What do you want to create? Who do you want to be in a year from now, 2 years from now? And hey, I could have stayed on the same path, and at this point now I'll be making the decision. But that time presented itself, and I had to choose, do I take this now or do I wait? Or do I not take this ever and not go down that path? And that's still okay. Now, there's some other things that our higher self and our future selves will be communicating with us to help us prevent things that might hinder us. So my spirit team was talking to me about having pain in our bodies. And pain always comes from energy and emotions. We like to think, oh, I had this passed down. My so-and-so, my grandma, my mom, my dad had this, so I'm going to have this. Or this is just hereditary, or this is something the doctor said I will never get rid of. I will always have this. Like, unless you were born with something here on earth, almost everything is created out of energy in your body that is causing you to feel sick or off or in pain. And it's either from the way you're treating your body, trauma that you've had in your life, or the thinking that you have about yourself and the world around you. And so that is why our thoughts and energy are so very important. But pain is a warning sign for something is off. Something is off here. Correct this, or this is the path you will be going on. So, for example, I start having pain in my body. I don't know what it's referring to, but I do know I'm starting to have this sudden urge to change the way I eat, or I'm having this sudden urge to start going on more walks, or I'm having this sudden urge to, go to the doctor and start a new medication, whatever that might be. There is no right or wrong answer. It's your intuition that is going to be telling you this is how we can solve this. But we have to listen. We have to trust that is telling us. So our future self, our higher self, will say, hey, this is going on. If you don't correct it now, you're going to end up this way. And who knows, you might develop a disease or cancer or whatever in the future. But there's a part of us that's always communicating back to us now in the present about the future possibilities that we can choose with that fork in the road. Now, if we listen to that higher self, to that part of ourself that is giving us those warning signs, that's sending that pain into our body, and we make the change, we correct that, and we take the other path, then we avoid what was going to happen on the other path. And this is why it's so hard sometimes to be a human, because we cannot see both outcomes. We can't see the path of alignment and the path of not being in alignment. And our intuition is always going to guide us right, but we're not always going to know that our intuition guided us right. Because sometimes when it guides us right, it takes us away from something that would have caused us to know that we made the right decision. So, for example, we'll use something kind of normal and simple. If I'm driving somewhere and suddenly my soul, my spirit says, I should go a different way this time, or I should turn on this road instead of that road. And then the next thing I know, there's a wreck where I was about to go. That was my intuition helping me avoid that. However, if I decide to listen and I'm like, my higher self I feel like I'm supposed to go this way instead. And then you go that way and then nothing happens and you're like, well, that was weird. Why did I do that? You don't even know there was a wreck that happened where you just were going to go. And so that is how the intuition works. And that is how we don't always know why our higher self is directing us in a certain way. So our future self, our past selves, our higher selves, everything is happening at once, and everything is trying to speak to us, to teach us and guide us on the path of alignment to our purpose, to the lessons we chose to have here on earth, and to the desires of things that our soul wanted to complete while we were here. Now, we can't fail, because we can go back to the other side and we can come right back to earth and try again in a different body. But how many of us want to do that? I know that I'm like, let's do this. Let's get all these lessons. I want to hear my intuition. I want to know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want to hold back anymore. I'm ready to move forward in this 3D reality into the 5D or beyond, whatever I can experience next. And that is why I work to hear my intuition. That is why I do the work to hear my higher self. That's why I meditate. That's why I do energy healing. That's why I do healing work. That's why I help other people to heal so that they don't have to repeat lessons. There's so many things that we can do to create and help our higher self move forward if we just listen to our intuition. And to hear your intuition, you have to let go of the ego. You have to calm the ego down, not necessarily get rid of the ego. We need the ego. The ego is our human self. So we need to balance it out with the higher self. We need to teach the ego that it's safe. We need to calm the ego down. We need to help the nervous system feel like it doesn't have to always jump up and protect us and react to everything. So that is how we heal. And that is what I help my clients do. So if that is something you would like help with, please reach out to me. I have all kinds of options to work with me. And that being said, you have a fork in the road at this moment right now. At this moment, you can decide who you want to be in the next moment. Do you want to be a different version of yourself, or do you want to continue the path that you're taking right now? And maybe you came across this video to help you make that decision. Maybe the next step is simply starting to meditate. Maybe the next step is simply a walk, 5 minutes. Maybe it is forgiving somebody. Whatever that is for you, that your next step is that's going to help you realign with your most authentic and highest self, that is the step that I'm going to encourage you to take. It doesn't mean that we are always hyper aware. It doesn't mean we can't sit down and read a good book and rest and have fun. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that we are self-aware of the decisions we're making and why we're making them. And we are always being led by the heart and our higher self and not the ego. We're loving the ego, but not letting the ego control the way we live our life. So I hope that helps you. Again, reach out if you would like support. And if you are a healer and you are looking for someone to mentor you and help you step into that healing field, business, whatever it is, I have a healer circle and I would love to have you come hang out with us. We get together twice a month. There's options to work with me one-on-one as well. Come hang out with us. The link will be below to sign up. It's only $35 a month to be in that mentorship and coaching for healers of the world. I hope this was helpful for you in this new setting that I have. And yeah, I wish you all the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.